Have you ever stopped to think about an ant colony? Or maybe a flock of birds, all moving together as one? There's no boss, no general, no one calling the shots, and yet somehow, out of all these simple individual actions, this incredible intelligent order just appears. So, let's get into it because this secret, it isn't just about the ants. It might actually be the secret to, well, everything. So our story really kicks off with a simple puzzle. You're looking at an ant colony. It's basically a bustling city with thousands of residents, all working in almost perfect sync. They're out finding food, building these complex structures, defending their home. But who's in charge? I mean, the queen, she lays the eggs, sure, but she's not sending out memos or giving orders. So how does this all happen? To get to the bottom of this, we first have to appreciate just how sophisticated these colonies really are. It's so much more than just simple teamwork. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. Studies have found that different species of ants that live in the same area don't just, randomly bump into each other while they're working. They actively avoid getting in each other's way by creating a kind of shared schedule. And they do it all without a single meeting.
Yeah, research into these ant communities shows something amazing. Take a look at this chart. It's showing the peak activity times for different species in the same neighborhood. You've got one species, this Cataglyphaciensis, that specializes in foraging during the hottest part of the day when no one else is out. Then you have Camponotus pisciopes. They basically work the night shift. And then this third species, Camponotus piscios, they're clever. They just fill in the gaps, working when the others are taking a break. It is a perfectly coordinated 24/7 operation with no manager in sight. So how on earth do they pull this off? They aren't holding conferences or sending signals to each other. The secret is much, much more elegant than that. It's not about talking to each other directly. It's all about leaving messages for others to find in the environment itself. And this whole idea, this environmental messaging, well, it's so powerful that we humans have actually borrowed it to create some of our most advanced technology. The principle has a name. It's called stigmergy. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It comes from the Greek word stigma, meaning sign, and ergon, meaning work. All it means is that one action leaves a trace in the world, and that trace triggers the next action from someone else. You can think of it like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for the next person to follow. And this idea came from a French biologist, Pierre-Paul Grasset, way back in 1959. He was studying termites, and he described it perfectly. He called it the stimulation of workers by the performance they have achieved. In other words, the work itself becomes the signal for more work. It's brilliant. And this is just a beautiful illustration of how nature's own solutions can inspire us. Computer scientists looked at this incredible, leaderless, super efficient system and had a light bulb moment. They realized they could turn this very idea into a powerful problem-solving tool. And that's how we got the ant colony optimization algorithm. Here's basically how it works. You set loose a bunch of virtual ants on a problem, let's say finding the shortest delivery route through a city. As each little virtual ant explores a path, it leaves behind a digital pheromone trail. Now, ants that find shorter paths get back faster, right? So their trails build up these digital pheromones more quickly. Pretty soon, other ants are drawn to those stronger trails, which reinforces the best solution over and over, until the one optimal path just emerges. It's stigmergy, but it's happening in silicon. Okay, let's zoom out. We have to. Because what we've just seen, this elegant order that just appears from a bunch of simple interactions, it's not just a neat trick used by ants and programmers. It is something way, way bigger. In fact, what we're looking at is a fundamental principle of how complex systems organize themselves. It's a process that's playing out on every single scale, from the tiniest particles to the entire cosmos. We all learned in science class that closed systems tend to move toward disorder, right? It's called entropy. A hot cup of coffee on a table will always cool down. Its energy just dissipates into the room. But, and this is a huge but, our universe is filled with open systems. Things like ant colonies, or, you and me. And we can exchange energy and information with our surroundings. And these open systems, they can do the exact opposite. They can create new, more complex, incredible forms of order. So, how does this new order actually get created? Well, the key is something called a bifurcation point. Imagine you balance a cone perfectly on its pointy tip. It's totally unstable. The tiniest, most random thing, a little gust of wind, is going to determine which way it falls. That tiny nudge is a random fluctuation, and that exact moment where it starts to fall, that's the bifurcation point.
The system was unstable, and a completely random event just pushed it into a brand new, stable state of order.
This just completely flips our whole idea of randomness on its head. At these critical tipping points, chaos and random events aren't the enemy of order. They're actually the essential ingredient. They are the creative spark that allows a system to explore new possibilities and organize itself in totally new ways. Chaos literally becomes the engine of creation.
So for our final section, we're going to see just how universal this blueprint really is. Because it turns out that ever since the Big Bang, our universe has been using this exact principle of self-organization to build pretty much everything we see around us. And this principle, it is absolutely everywhere you look. I mean, think about it. The formation of entire galaxies out of these giant swirling clouds of cosmic dust. The evolution of life itself, as simple molecules somehow organized into self-replicating structures. It's happening inside your brain right now as billions of neurons fire in coordinated patterns to create a single thought. And it's in our societies too, from the invisible hand of the free market setting prices to all the unwritten social rules that guide how we act. So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Complex, beautiful, and intelligent order doesn't always need a master plan or a central designer. In fact, most of the time it emerges from the bottom up. It just arises spontaneously from simple parts following simple rules and interacting with their world. And that kind of leaves us with one less question to think about. From ant colonies to economies to galaxies, the universe just seems to love self-organization. It's this incredibly powerful creative force that turns chaos into structure. So the real question is, where in our own lives, in our own companies or teams, are we trying to force control from the top down? When maybe, just maybe, the best solution is just waiting to emerge, all on its own?